Have you ever felt a chill run down your spine for no apparent reason? Let me take you on a journey to a place where the line between the living and the departed becomes blurred. This is no ordinary place. It's a house with a dark past, a house that has stood the test of time, a house that whispers tales of yesteryears, a house that was once my grandparents'. Nestled in a secluded corner of the country, away from the hustle and bustle of the city, stands this eerie abode. Its once vibrant walls are now weathered and worn, bearing the marks of time. The house, with its towering structure and creaky wooden floors, has an uncanny ability to make one feel both dread and fascination. This is not just a house, it's a relic of the past, a monument with a history that's as intriguing as it is chilling. My grandparents lived here in this very house, a place that could make the bravest hearts quiver. And why wouldn't they? After all, the house has a story to tell, a story that's shrouded in mystery, a story that's been passed on from generation to generation. Over the years, whispers of strange occurrences have echoed through the halls of this house. The rustling of leaves when there's no wind, the sudden drop in temperature in certain rooms, the inexplicable sounds in the dead of the night, and the fleeting shadow seen from the corner of the eye. These occurrences, as eerie as they might sound, were a part of the daily life here. People said it was just the house settling, the quirks of an old structure. But those who've spent a night here know different. They felt the cold touch of the unseen, heard the whispers in the silence, seen things that defy explanation. These tales, these whispers, these occurrences, were they mere figments of overactive imaginations? Or was there something more? Something lurking within the walls of this house, something that goes beyond the realm of understanding. Little did anyone know these were not just stories. What if in the quiet corners of your home there were unseen residents? Imagine sitting in your cozy armchair, enjoying the warmth of the fireplace when suddenly a chilling breeze sweeps through the room, extinguishing the dancing flames. This was a common occurrence for my grandparents, the occupants of a house with a dark past, a house that was never truly empty. They would often recount tales of hearing whispered conversations in empty rooms, echoes of laughter or crying that seemed to come from nowhere. The soft clinking of dishes from the kitchen when no one was cooking, the creaking of floorboards from the upstairs room when everyone was downstairs. These strange noises were not just figments of an overactive imagination, they were the soundtrack of their daily lives. But the unseen residents of the house didn't just limit themselves to auditory disturbances. Shadows would dance on the walls, even when there was no source of light. Not just ordinary shadows, but shapes that seemed to have a life of their own. They would slither along the corridors, creep up the staircases, and lurk in the corners of the rooms, always just out of sight. Then came the incidents of objects moving on their own. A vase would shift from one end of the table to the other. A picture frame would tilt on its own accord. Doors would slam shut without the slightest hint of wind. These events were not only unsettling, they were downright terrifying. As time went on, these occurrences became more frequent. The whispers grew louder, the shadows darker, the movements more pronounced. My grandparents tried to ignore them, to dismiss them as mere coincidences, but there was no denying the reality. They were living with unseen residents, entities that seemed to take pleasure in their fear. The house was never empty, even when it seemed to be. The unseen residents were always there, lurking in the shadows, whispering in the silence, reminding my grandparents that they were not alone. Can you imagine a night when your worst fears come alive? Picture this: a chilling winter evening, the wind howling like a pack of wolves outside. The house, once a sanctuary, now a vessel for the unknown. The grandfather clock in the hall struck midnight, its chime echoing through the cold stone corridors. It was as if time itself was holding its breath, anticipating the horrors that lay ahead. In the eeriness, the familiar creaking of the old wooden stairs began like a hesitant intruder climbing step by step. The rhythm was irregular, as if someone or something was finding its way in the darkness. Each creak was a jolt to the senses, a chilling reminder of the unseen residents of the house. Then came the whispers, soft, indistinct, rustling through the silence like leaves in an autumn gale. Words, fragments of sentences, snippets of a conversation long past. Their source was indeterminate, as if they were coming from the very walls of the house. Each whisper was a cold hand running down the spine, a spectral voice from the abyss. Suddenly the whispers ceased, replaced by an oppressive silence. The air turned colder. The darkness seemed to deepen, cloaking the house in an impenetrable shroud. The tension was palpable, like a taut string waiting to snap. Out of the silence, a scream tore through the night, piercing and primal. It was a sound that transcended fear, a cry that spoke of endless torment. It echoed around the house, bouncing off the walls, and then abruptly, it was gone. The silence returned, heavier than before, the scream still ringing in the ears. The remaining hours of the night were a testament to fear, a cocktail of cold sweats and palpitations. The house seemed to breathe, its structure groaning under the weight of its unseen occupants. The darkness outside mirrored the dread within, a symphony of terror played out until the first light of dawn. As dawn broke, the terror of the night seemed like a distant nightmare. What if the walls of your home could talk? What secrets would they reveal? Imagine, if you will, a house not just of bricks and mortar, but of memories and secrets. A dwelling place that has seen the passage of time, the ebb and flow of life, and has been a silent witness to stories untold. Such was the character of my grandparents' house, a place that held more than just the warmth of their love, but also the chilling remnants of a darker past. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the unexplained occurrences in the house became impossible to ignore. The whispers, the shadows, the inexplicable chills. They were not mere figments of our imagination, but fragments of a history long forgotten, buried deep within the very foundation of the house. With curiosity and trepidation, we started to dig into the past. We delved into old records, dust-laden documents, and faded photographs. Each piece of information was like a piece of a jigsaw puzzle, slowly revealing a picture that was both fascinating and terrifying. The house, it turned out, was once the residence of a family caught in the throes of a tragic event. A fire, a loss, a desperate act of despair, and a lingering sorrow that refused to fade away. The walls of the house had soaked up their pain, their grief, their unresolved emotions. And these were the unseen residents, the echoes of the past that still haunted the house, seeking acknowledgement, seeking release. The house, with its creaking doors and phantom footsteps, was not merely a structure of wood and stone. It was a vessel of stories, of lives lived and lost, and of emotions that transcended the boundaries of time. It was a testament to the fact that places, like people, hold memories, and sometimes those memories refuse to be forgotten. The house held a past that explained its present, and as we uncovered its secrets, we found ourselves not just living in a house, but cohabiting with history, with memories, and with the unseen residents who were as much a part of the house as its bricks and beams. How would you cope if every night was a haunting? Imagine the strength it takes to not only accept the presence of spirits, but to also coexist with them. This was the life my grandparents chose. They didn't flee in terror. They didn't abandon their home. They chose to stay, to live with the haunting. My grandparents' acceptance of the unseen residents was not immediate. It was a gradual process, an understanding that was developed over time. They started to recognize the patterns, the recurring events, the soft whispers in the dead of the night, the faint footsteps in the attic, the sudden chill in certain rooms. They realized these were not random. They were the actions of entities trying to make their presence felt. My grandparents' approach was one of respect and understanding. They treated the spirits as co-inhabitants of the house, not intruders. They would often leave out small offerings, simple things like fresh flowers or a cup of tea, as a gesture of goodwill. They believed that these spirits were not malicious, but misunderstood. They were not there to cause harm, but were simply trapped between worlds, unable to move on. Over time, they started to see the hauntings not as disturbances, but as part of their daily life. It became their new normal. They would go about their day, unfazed by the occasional spectral occurrence. They would laugh it off, joke about it, even talk to the spirits as if they were old friends. It was their way of making peace with the situation. But why stay? Why not just leave the house and its ghostly occupants behind? The answer is simple. This house was their home. It was where they had built their lives, where they had raised their children. They loved this house, and not even the presence of spirits could change that. In the end, they made peace with their unseen residents. They learned to live with the haunting, turning a situation of fear into one of understanding and acceptance. They showed us that it is possible to coexist even with those who are no longer of this world. What happens when a haunted house is left to its ghosts? Time stands still for the house that once echoed with the laughter of a family, the house that now stands abandoned. Its once vibrant exterior has been washed away by the relentless onslaught of weather and time, replaced by a spectral image of decay. The once lush garden is now a forgotten wilderness, overgrown with weeds and thorny bushes. The windows, those eyes into the soul of the house, are now hollow, staring blankly out into the world. The paint peels like old parchment and the wooden beams groan under the weight of solitude. The house exudes an eerie silence during the day, but as dusk descends, it comes alive with an orchestra of whispers and strange noises. Shadows dance in the moonlight, playing out a ghostly pantomime in the still of the night. The wind seems to carry with it a mournful lament, a spooky serenade that echoes through the gnarled trees surrounding the house. People in the town avoid the path that leads to the house. It has become an unsaid rule, a superstition passed down through generations. The house has been the subject of countless tales, each more gruesome and chilling than the last. Some say they've seen spectral figures in the windows. Others claim to hear the faint whispers of children's laughter. As the stories spread, the house's reputation grows, and its isolation deepens. The house is now a relic, a testament to the passage of time and the stories that have been woven around it. It's a monument to the unseen, the unexplained, and the supernatural. Left to its ghosts, the house has become an embodiment of the mysteries it holds within its crumbling walls. Despite the fear and rumors, the house exerts a certain allure. Its eerie beauty draws the brave and the curious, those daring enough to venture close. To them, the house is a thrilling enigma, a puzzle waiting to be unraveled. The house stands as a chilling reminder of its dark past. So, dare you visit such a place? As we draw the curtains on this eerie tale, let's take a moment to reflect on the highlights. We journeyed through a house with a dark past, a dwelling that held more than just the echo of laughter and family banter. It was home to unseen residents, spectral entities that made their presence known in ways that sent chills down the spine. We experienced a night of terror, a night where the supernatural showed its might and the truth was unveiled, a truth that was as fascinating as it was terrifying. And yet the inhabitants found a way to live with the haunting, to coexist with these spectral beings in a strange harmony. The haunted house stands today a testament to the resilience of both the living and the dead. Every house has a story, but not all are as chilling as this one.